attempt at this because the first one, um, I think the couple of minutes were cut off at the beginning. The second one, I I don't know. It was a bit too low. Look, the way I look at it is number three. Three times is a charm. This video hopefully will be short, and it's about Mikey, our dog Mikey. Mikey was a Sheltie. I say was because he we lost him last Thursday, November the 14th. Um, Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately with a broad span to it. Unfortunately, Mikey, at the end of his 12 and a half years, had so many different struggles with cancer, diabetes, cataracts, um, you name it, and none of the above took him at the end. It was, we think, the hip broke and he could no longer stand up. But that being stated, we had 12 and a half amazing years with a beautiful dog. Absolutely beautiful. Well, there's this picture there, a little bit blurry, but you can see him. He's adorable. Now, um, what I wanted to talk about was, well, there are people that do follow this channel, and I appreciate everybody who has subbed to me. I think that it's awesome. I think you're all wonderful, and I may decide to continue on with the channel and show our next edition because, well, I guess that will is the next thing I'll talk about. We didn't know what we were going to do, but yeah, I think we're going to get another dog. Number four. Um, Let me go back a bit to last week. Last week was a hard week, but sometimes Mikey would have hiccups and he'd have a little rough patch and he'd come out of it, but he was unable to stand and unable to go to the bathroom. And then the eating stopped. And for a diabetic, they've got to eat. So when everything all added together and it looked like the right leg was compromised, yeah, he couldn't have had surgery. He wouldn't have been able to, at his age, he wouldn't have pulled through surgery. So it wouldn't have been fair to him. So the kindest, most loving thing we could do for him is to take him and put him down. Um, Now, um, that being said, though, let me tell you, it's never easy, And as when we knew that he had the diagnosis of cancer and he was progressively getting a bit worse and getting a bit more finicky about eating and lost a fair amount of weight. Um, we said nope, no more dogs. This is hard, man. I mean, you're quick to embrace those positive, wonderful moments with your dog, but the minute they age and all of a sudden that independent dog becomes extremely dependent upon you, they follow you everywhere you go, and they need more attention. It's kind of like the human old um, saying once an adult, twice a child. Well, it's no different. Was no different for Mike. I mean, our other two Shelties died at a much younger age, and we didn't really see that neediness in them. Whereas with Mikey, well, he rocked his disease. He made the best of everything, and he did extremely well. Um, it did take care and concern on our part, but I'm sure everybody listening to this, you're animal lovers most likely, and you can nod your head and go, yeah, you do everything you can for them, and then at the end of the day, the best thing you can do for your best friend is make sure that they don't suffer at all, and that you send them on their way to Rainbow Bridge, and that's a decision we had to come to um, last Thursday. And even on the way up, back up, no more, never having another dog. That's it, no more. Yeah, well, okay. The house was way too quiet, way too quiet. I mean, Shelties are kind of a loud dog, and even though um, I used to get them all barking in their inside voices, which was instead of it was I mean, they were very respectful of us, and they would use their inside voices. It's still I don't know, you knew he was around and he needed things. He wanted your attention. He wanted to sit and listen to you talk. And Mikey was a real ham for that. He'd come over and he'd one bark and then he'd sit down, fold his paws, which is a typical Sheltie thing, typical collie thing. And then he'd stare at you. Okay, start now. I want to hear you tell me a story. And you tell him a story, and if he knew it from before, he'd smile. Oh my, he was so unique. Well, aren't they all though? And so amazing. Again, aren't they all? So yeah, it took me a few days to be able to make this without blubbering and tears and stuff because I've got to say I love him dearly and I miss him even more. And it's been a hard pill to swallow. That being said, though, um, we would have been amiss if we had let him suffer longer and for us for our own benefit that would have been wrong. um the videos here in the channel here, as you can see, there was a number of videos uploaded, what, 9 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, I forget when I uploaded them, but Mikey had an issue with his hindquarters before he was 1 year old. We took him to the University of Prince Edward Island and to the veterinary college for large and small uh, animals. And they couldn't tell us what was wrong with him, but they could tell us what wasn't wrong. He didn't have arthritis. He didn't have cancer. He didn't have some of the other more common diseases, but at least we knew it wasn't arthritis and it wasn't cancer. But cancer was a possibility actually when we first went over there, and we thought, oh my God, there was one of his test results said, yeah, it could be, but we're not really sure. He's too young, blah blah blah, and he doesn't show many of the symptoms. So they did thorough testing on him and said, well, bring him back if it gets worse or you notice any changes in his appetite. And that's where we left it. So he was good for many months. And then all of a sudden, one night, he was just like somewhere between 1 and 2 years old. And he couldn't walk. He couldn't stand on the hind legs, period. Um, we took him to the vet the next morning, and the vet called um, a practice where he knew two surgeons did a lot of work with animal abnormalities and leg angle abnormalities, and meaning TPLO, tibia plateau deformity. What is that? Okay, basically, you know, look at your own legs. You have a hip, you have knee, you have ankle. When the tibia plateau is deformed, the angle of bend in your knee or in a dog's knee would be less than. It just won't bend like it should when a dog needs it the most, which for a dog would be having a bowel movement. Hence the video showing the poor guy couldn't have any privacy having a bowel movement. Hmm. And oddly enough, although I uploaded 35 videos, there's a lot more that I didn't upload. But my husband said they all showed the same thing. So, and it was getting the information out. Now, Mikey was a rarity. Normally, tibia plateau, it needing to be leveled and working on the angle of deformity, it usually occurred in larger dogs, Newfoundland dogs, St. Bernard dogs, Dalmatians, Labs, some duck tollers, but never Shelties, not even full size collies or even border collies. Nope. So it was very rare to find in the breed. It's completely a genetically transmitted disease. And since it never showed up in his breed lines before, because we got the full medical record, when we got him, um, who knows where it came from, but it could have been dormant and then just surfaced. His siblings didn't have it. Any of the rest of the litter. His parents didn't have it as well, and his grandmother was grand champion in North America 4 years running straight, and she was something else. And I think his dad placed well all through the dad's life of showing. So that being stated, where does it come from? I don't want you to get upset, like listening to this. Don't worry. Don't leave this video and think, oh my God, my dog might have this. No, it's so rare. And even a dog may have like a bit of it, but the angle of bend is not that out of whack that it'll ever make an issue, the dog will ever have an issue. It, being overweight or underweight really isn't an issue. It's how their bones form, how the kneecap, the tibia and fibia, I guess, uh, bind together with the kneecap. The bones and everything form together, but the plateau is off. And Mikey's degree of deformity was 48% and over 50. It was maybe I always want to say it was 50 and 55, but my husband says no, I think it was 48 and 50, but it was a very high level of degree of deformity because larger dogs would come in with maybe 20% angle of deformity, which, I guess, I mean, it can keep a dog from easily going to the bathroom, but ours was quite a bit higher. Normally, though, when they operated, they were able to send a dog out after one or maybe two surgeries with 0 degree deformity, and the dogs would progress on to have an absolutely normal life as if nothing happened. So, I mean, it's like anything else. Years and years ago, we used to hear of hip dysplasia in larger dogs. I don't think not so much the smaller breeds, and then ACL, which is like torn cartilage, which I know having that in high school, it was from an injury. It's a cartilage underneath the kneecap. Um, it's not that big of a deal, and the surgery is basically to remove the torn cartilage, so it's not causing friction on the underneath the kneecap. And then TPLO came along, and Mikey ended up having 5 surgeries, 4 on the left leg, which had the bigger degree angle um, of deformity, and then 1 on the right leg. Now they didn't have hardware small enough for Mikey, so they had to like not quite reinvent the wheel, but they had to take their larger hardware and melt it down smaller for him. Um, and they had to restructure it and attach it to the bone, the tibia, and I guess the fibia as well. But they had to make sure that it worked and worked in perfect sequence. Now, when he left after all 5 surgeries, he had about 20-degree deformity, more or less. So that's something. And to this date, to my knowledge anyway, Mikey is the only dog that had such a high degree of deformity. And I'll tell you something. I remember somebody looking at my videos and saying, oh, the poor thing, he looks in pain. Nope, take another look again. The look on Mikey's face was not anything other than, look at me. He was not only trying to please us and showing how well he could walk, because that dog couldn't walk before then, to look at me. I can do it. I'm doing it. Do you see me? I'm doing it. I'm doing it all by myself. Of course, the way Mikey was, he'd like to have done it faster, slicker, etc., but so independent. I was always so proud of that guy. He was an amazing dog. I'm telling you, I would never give the years up that we had with Mikey for anything. Um, and so, making that decision before he passed away that no, no more dogs, it almost seemed to be a bit of an insult to him. But on the other hand, I guess we were thinking a bit selfishly and not really giving it a chance to no, don't try and make that decision until maybe, time has passed by. So next day, like I said, I got the phone and blah, blah, blah. So about the 17th of January, we will be bringing a new puppy home. Like I said, we don't have a name for him, and it might be fun if I, decide to continue on YouTube to have an upload where we try and discuss uh, a name or names. So you leave them in the comment section. That'd be good. Um, that being stated, Um, you know, people who don't have pets, or maybe they have dogs and cats, but they're not close or they don't have the time to be close, don't get uh, pets like Mikey. And others who have them and spend a lot of time with them and get a lot of enjoyment, or they have like a service dog and the dog is around them all the time and the dog is watching over them. Mikey was just amazing. And I know everybody says that about their pet. Why wouldn't they? They love them completely. Makeup Mobster was correct about the shedding. Uh, the wind always blew through Mikey's kennel, and that was taken in the summer. And you can see the white undercoat coming off. Um, and it'd be a blue carpet because that was a raised area that my husband built in the kennel for him. So it was much more even for him to walk on. Um, but that had 0 fur, and then when he was out there for 5 minutes, it was all white, but, it doesn't stick that badly, Makeup Lobster. You really might wanna think, at some point in time getting a Sheltie. They're a lovely animal, and we can connect you with names of breeders that, were linked to actually, that were part of his ancestry, and they're in, Connecticut, I believe. Um, we don't know them off the top of our heads right now. I don't, but I know I can find them out. Um, Now they have the ones that we know. Several other breeders. Some of them look like a honey colored lassie, and the coloring, because there's three to four color shades in Mikey, as you can see in the picture. Mikey is a red sable, and that's because he has a little bit of honey, a lot of reddish looking fox color, brown, black, and shades of brown of different degrees. And he's absolutely handsome. He has a white line on top of his head. His ears always remain curled down. They work on them a bit when they're a little baby, and that's it. They do a little bit of work and they stay down. And sometimes he'd stick it up. I mean, if there's something interesting to listen to, that ear shot up just like clockwork. He's not smiling in that picture, which is so odd because the picture that normally scoots in the bottom right corner, he's got a laugh on his face. That's Mikey. But I'm sure my husband made him sit up again for another picture, and he probably went, "Oh my God, I hate the pictures." That's our boy. Very independent, very much an attitude problem. Yeah. Uh, you know, at first, I was very shocked. I was like, "Oh gosh," I was so sure. I thought we are gonna have him for Christmas at the minimum. And uh, this will be the first Christmas, and I don't know how many years we didn't have a crazy Sheltie to celebrate it with us. But the thoughts and hopes of new life coming uh, will make it a little bit easier to get through Christmas without a nutty Sheltie trying to steal turkey or whatever whatever you want to, whatever would fall on the floor. Yeah, it was his. That was his rule. But yeah, I have been sort of absent more so on YouTube, and it bothered me because I came to enjoy a number of channels, and I like to frequent there, donate when I could, and over these years, I mean, I've been here for so long. Not really as a commenter. I remember Diane's channel when it first started. I remember Laura's channel when it first started. I was there to watch Molly's channel start. I used to watch some, and I was subscribed to some personal channels. More of them were big, like network news and stuff. I think what brought me into the personal channels more was the Chris Watts case, oddly. But that being stated, I used to go to the Royals and stuff like that, but then I started watching more like I call them personal channels, but they're not musicians, they're not celebrities in the news, so they're private personal channels, and they're interesting. I mean, there's pluses and minuses in them. Um, I guess I just want to echo something. As much as I missed YouTube, I loved spending time with our precious dog. I really did. I mean, I couldn't soak up enough of him. There's a comforter that I really need to wash, but it's got a scent all over it. And every time I put it on over me and I go to sleep, I can smell him so strong. So, um, yeah, it might take a little bit of time. It's not dirty or anything. It's just got a scent on it. Um, but guys, for as good as Mikey was to us and how well he took care of us, um, maybe try and use it. If we all try and use a bit of that in our own lives, and for the people that we come in contact with, maybe you're not fussy about them, but and I had to learn this in a standing back way, and I've really got to check myself even more. I may not. Everybody may not be my cup of tea, but it doesn't mean I have to dislike them or hate them. There's always something positive we could all find in other people. And if they really kind of rub you the wrong way, okay, so be it. Oh, and I can remember how long Brian St. John was here. Oh, way back when. Yep. He would come once I started watching a few private channels. His channel would often come in the suggestion to watch, and Brian's channel was it's not that there weren't many personal channels, it's just there were far less. And as we see now, YouTube is going to take a swinging pendulum backwards. I don't even know. I may not even have I think you have to have a certain number of subs to withstand the next cut. And I may not have enough, and I may have to like shut up shop. Who knows? But we'll see what happens. And I don't know. I guess I have to go. I have to go back and forth. This is my third time doing this, but I mean, it's getting used to StreamYards and um, everything. Hopefully, I'm just about screaming, so hopefully the sound's better. If not, I'll just say in the comments, "Turn your sound up. Don't give me grief." Folks. Yeah. I know I left a lot out. That's fine. And my goal, if I do continue with this channel, is how to train a puppy, how to learn some mathematics that I taught in science, math, and um, academic math, and physics, concepts in physics, concepts in chemistry. Um, for struggling high school students or how to cook. I've got some awesome recipes from my grandmother and my husband's great grandmother. And I've got tricks that, oh, I hope I'm going to give you some new tricks in cooking or new ingredients. Like, hey, do you ever wonder why your tea biscuits aren't soft enough? I know why. I can show you. So these are some things, a little bit of everything in a how to window. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, Time will tell. Uh, anyway, this being the 21st of November, a week from when we lost our precious Mikey, um, Shellhaven's Michelangelo, CKC, AKC registered, 12 and a half years old, 12 and a half years young. Um, Take care, be kind, everyone, and have a great day.